Saturday. That's day 3 of races, or certainly day 3 of finals. My name is Brent Duncan.
My name is Ali Zimmerman, and we are tuning into the start of the senior men's 8. They're sitting up in the gates. We are probably looking at Mendota as the closest crew to us, as Vesper and Nyack have both scratched this event.
Well,
In lane
pretty
4, we
clean
have
start here.
Lane 4, we have Mendota with the red blades, followed by Argentina, lane 5. Lane 6 is Westside Development Squad, and lane 7 on the far end is another crew from Mendota.
This is, there were heats for this race.
Absolutely. There would have been heats leading into this. We are looking at certainly the Mendota crew members have had a strong showing in the men's sweep events already at this regatta. Many of these athletes will have raced in the men's pair, the men's 4, and I know they'll be racing in the championship 8 as well tomorrow.
So yeah, these athletes, when they come up here to Canada, they when they come up to the Canadian Henley, they don't take it lightly. They come up, they get as much racing in as they can, and they're perennially a strong program here in the men's 8.
Definitely what we come to expect from Mendota out of Madison, Wisconsin. But it certainly looks like the crew from Argentina coming up from South America. They're having a very strong race, looking absolutely dominant coming through the first 500 meters.
Argentina also perennially present here at Canadian Henley. I'm not sure I've seen them boat in 8 before, so that's really exciting. And to see them at 500 meters, really a boat length up on the top Mendota boat, and even Westside Development, that is very impressive.
Certainly in an 8, it's a lot of real estate to cover. It takes a lot to be able to, let's say, walk a crew or break a crew when they get that kind of a lead 500 meters in.
Just goes to show the amount of work that has clearly gone into the preparation for the Argentina program. And it is, I think, really exciting to have them here racing in 8 for a program that typically shows up with small boats.
I think there's a lot of experience in this crew. Many of those athletes have raced internationally, certainly prior to coming to Canadian Henley. Strokeman Axel Hack, stroke of the Argentinian boat, raced here at the Pan Am Games in 2015, and he was in the men's pair. There was actually a dead heat, so it was a tie for first place in that event.
That is really exciting, and just looking at the stroke rates right now as they're approaching the 750 meter mark, Argentina not letting up. They're cruising at about a 37, 38 strokes per minute, so they're really working hard, making sure they're, that international caliber. You won't really see too many heavyweight 8s storm down at any international regatta less than a 37, so they're trying to hold themselves to that high standard, and it seems to be working as they approach the halfway mark in this race.
Last year's winner of this event was the University of Victoria. They won in a time of 5:46.89. Now we're talking about times. It's almost comparing apples to oranges. Yesterday we were at this point in the race looking at almost white cap conditions as they crossed the 1,000-meter mark. Today, certainly a little bit of wind, but nothing like what these athletes would have had to contend with yesterday.
These are definitely some more neutral conditions compared to what we've seen the last 2 days. On Thursday, our first day of finals, we had some pretty favorable, quick conditions with a tailwind, certainly bumpy at times, but not quite bad enough that it was throwing too many crews off. Yesterday, it was not only windier, so the conditions were more challenging. Blades were getting caught in the waves, but it was also a headwind. So there were some crews that had raced their semifinals on Thursday in the tailwind. They were racing yesterday in finals, going about a minute slower. That really just goes to show the variety of conditions you can get here.
These athletes are racing for the Hanlon Memorial Challenge Trophy. The Hanlon Memorial Challenge Trophy, first dedicated in 1910. Edward Ned Hanlon was Canada's greatest sporting figure of the 19th century. He was a lightweight at only 69 kilos. Ned was in the professional rowing, or he was the professional rowing champion of the world, beating the best in Canada, the United States, England, and Australia. He was also famous for racing on a sliding seat rather than fixed. He defended his title 6 times before losing it in 1884. Ned lost fewer than a dozen of the estimated 300 races he was in over a variety of distances from 1.6 kilometers, which is a mile, to 8 kilometers for prizes that range between $100 and $8,000.
One thing that was really interesting with Ned Hanlon, the way he raced, having a sliding seat, as we see in most modern racing, allowed him to use his legs. That's part of why he was so successful. That wasn't a standard practice yet. And because he typically had such a significant advantage, and because there were a lot of betting that went on in those races, he became quite a showman. So he would do things like feign fatigue and stop rowing before the finish line and allowing his competitors to catch back up only to get right back into the race and fire things up. He was incredibly quick, but also I think almost comparable to like a professional wrestler in terms of his persona.
We also have the same birthday, fun fact. Argentina approaching the red buoys here, with that indicate 250 meters to go. I'm watching their catches, and it looks like they're just
That's
placing
sharp.
them in very, it's very sharp, very clean. A little bit of an increase here, but they did look like they increased their lead over that Mendota crew in lane 4.
Yeah, just cruising. I've got them at a 38.5. So really not putting on too much of a sprint as they approach the red buoys, maybe 2 or 3 strokes past the red buoys, but they are well clear of the rest of the field with Mendota in lane 4, I think closing in on what's going to be second place. Argentina rowing very clean, really composed.
I'm watching exactly what I was just about to say, Brent. Their upper bodies looking very still, very quiet, and just taking as much work through the legs as they can.
That's some really nice rowing. I'm really impressed, and it's not surprising to see them crossing the finish line first. Well done to Argentina.
Certainly they look fatigued, but it looks like they knew they had that race easily in the first 500 meters. They just had to keep that lead going. So congratulations unofficially to Argentina winning the men's senior 8, followed by, looks like Mendota, lane 4.
Well done. We'll just give them a quick shout out to from Bao, Joaquin, Franco, Ignacio, Lautaro, Ariel, Nicholas, Ivan, Axel, and of course Cox, Milka. Of course, on your screen are the unofficial times for that race. Not that race.
It looks like the times from the semifinal of the under 17 men's double are on our